I knew my marriage was over. The moment Sarah looked at me across our living room and said, "They are my family, Louis. I have to stand by them." It was not the words themselves that broke me. It was the coldness in her voice, the finality. We had been together for 4 years, married and building what I thought was forever. But in that moment, watching her choose a fraudulent investment scheme over my judgment over us, I understood something crucial. The woman I loved had already made her choice. She picked her family's delusion over our reality. And I realized I would have to do the hardest thing I had ever done. I would have to walk away from everything we built together. Before I tell you how I walked away from everything we built together, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. Hit that like button if you have ever had to choose between love and self-respect. And subscribe, because what happened next changed everything I thought I knew about loyalty and family. Let me take you back to where it all started 3 months before that cold winter night when everything fell apart. My name is Louis. I am 30 years old, a software engineer living in Portland, Oregon. 3 months ago, I thought I had it all figured out. I had been married to Sarah for 4 years, and honestly, those were the best years of my life. Sarah was everything I wanted in a partner. She had this warm laugh that could light up a room, and she was passionate about her graphic design career. We lived in a small but cozy apartment in the Pearl District. Our weekends were spent hiking in the Columbia River Gorge, and our evenings were filled with cooking experiments that sometimes worked and sometimes ended with us ordering pizza instead. I remember our morning routine so clearly now. Sarah would wake up first and make coffee while I stumbled into the kitchen to make pancakes. We had this little ritual where we would sit on our balcony, even in the rain, watching the city wake up around us. We had inside jokes that nobody else understood, and shared dreams about having kids someday, maybe buying a house with a yard. I truly believed Sarah was my forever person. I believed we could handle anything together. I always knew Sarah came from a close-knit family. Her mother, Patricia, her older brother, Derek, and her younger sister, Jessica. They had Sunday dinners together, group text chains that never stopped buzzing, and this unspoken rule that family came first. I respected that. I even admired it coming from a smaller family myself. But I had not yet learned that close-knit could also mean suffocating. I had not yet seen what happens when family loyalty becomes blind faith. Everything changed on a Sunday afternoon 3 months ago. We were at Patricia's house for our usual family dinner. The table was set with Patricia's good china, and the smell of roasted chicken filled the house. Derek showed up late, which was typical for him. He burst through the door with this manic energy, talking loudly about some incredible opportunity he had discovered. Derek was always like that. Loud, overconfident, always chasing the next big thing. Over the years, I had watched him fail at multi-level marketing schemes, day trading ventures, and a dropshipping business that lasted about 6 weeks. But this time he swore was different. He pulled out his laptop right there at the dinner table, nudging aside the salad bowl to make room. "Crypto Wave Elite," he announced like he was revealing the secret to eternal life. "This is going to change everything for our family." He launched into this presentation about guaranteed returns, 30% monthly, completely secure. He showed us charts that meant nothing, screenshots of testimonials from people we did not know, and kept talking about this financial guru named Marcus, who had brought him into this exclusive opportunity. I watched Patricia lean forward, her eyes wide with excitement. She had already invested $5,000, she told us proudly. Jessica was nodding along, saying she was seriously considering putting money in too. Then Sarah turned to me, and I saw that curious look in her eyes. The look that said, "What do you think?" My stomach dropped. I am a software engineer. I work with technology every day, and I understand how cryptocurrency actually functions. More importantly, I understand how scams work. Everything Derek was describing sent up massive red flags in my mind. Guaranteed returns in crypto are impossible. The market is too volatile. 30% monthly returns are not just unlikely, they are mathematically improbable over any sustained period. I had looked up Crypto Wave Elite on my phone, right there at the table, while Derek was still talking. Their website was poorly designed, offered no real transparency about their operations, and this Marcus person had no verifiable credentials anywhere online. It was textbook Ponzi scheme territory. On the drive home, Sarah asked me what I thought. I chose my words carefully. I explained that guaranteed returns were a red flag, that the website looked unprofessional, that Marcus had no legitimate financial background I could find. I walked her through the classic signs of a Ponzi scheme: the pressure to recruit others, the upfront fees, the promises that sounded too good to be true because they were too good to be true. Sarah listened. She nodded. She said, "You are probably right. I trust your judgment. We will not invest." I felt this wave of relief wash over me. We decided together. We were a team. I reached over and squeezed her hand, and she squeezed back. "I am glad I have you to keep me grounded," she said. I thought that was the end of it. I thought we had dodged a bullet together. I had no idea the pressure was just beginning. The phone calls started the next week. I would come home from work and find Sarah on the phone with Patricia, or Derek, her voice defensive in a way I had never heard before. They had invested more money, they told her. They were seeing amazing returns already. Derek called me controlling. He told Sarah I was holding her back from financial freedom. Patricia used a different approach. She would say things like, "Your husband does not trust family, sweetheart. Does not that bother you?" Jessica sent screenshots of her supposed profits, thousands of dollars appearing in her account like magic. I watched Sarah change in front of me. When I tried to bring up my concerns again, she became irritated. "Maybe you are being too cautious," she said one night. "They would not lie to me, Louis. It is family." I tried to show her articles about cryptocurrency scams. I did research on Crypto Wave Elite and found complaints on obscure forums from people who said they had lost money. I sent Sarah links, data warnings from financial experts, but she just grew more distant. Her jaw would tighten when I brought it up. Her eyes would go cold. I remember one evening, clearly. I overheard her on the phone with Derek. I was not trying to eavesdrop, but our apartment was small. I heard her say, I know, he just does not understand." There was a pause. "I will talk to him again." When she came back into the living room, she would not look at me. The space between us on the couch felt like miles. Another night, I tried one more time. I sat down next to her and said, "Sarah, please just look at the evidence with me. Just look at what I have found." She closed her laptop. "Can we just not talk about this anymore?" she asked, her voice tired. "Please, Louis. I am exhausted. I let it go that night. But I knew in my gut that worse things were coming. I could feel the storm building, and I had no idea how to stop it. 2 weeks later, Derek organized what he called a family meeting at Patricia's house. Sarah told me we needed to go. "It is important," she said. There was something in her tone that made me agree, even though every instinct told me this was a bad idea. I hoped maybe I could talk to them rationally, present my research, make them see reason. When we arrived, everyone was already there. The atmosphere felt different from our usual Sunday dinners. It was formal, tense. Derek stood near the fireplace like he was about to give a presentation. Patricia sat in the center of the couch, her hands folded in her lap. Jessica sat beside her with her arms crossed, watching me with an expression I could not quite read. Derek did not waste time. "We need to discuss the elephant in the room," he said, looking directly at me. "Your negativity is affecting this family, Louis." He said it like I was some kind of disease they needed to cure. "You are sabotaging Sarah's opportunity. Everyone else here is making money, real money. Sarah is missing out because of you." Patricia chimed in with her softer approach. "Louis, dear, I know you mean well, but sometimes family knows best. Sarah deserves this opportunity. Do not you want your wife to succeed?" The guilt trip was obvious, but I could see Sarah shifting uncomfortably next to me. Then Jessica pulled out her phone. "Look," she said, turning the screen toward me. I have made $3,000 in 2 weeks. $3,000, Louis. Why are you trying to stop Sarah from this? I tried to explain. I pulled out my phone to show them the articles I had found, the complaints, the warning signs. But Derek kept interrupting me. You think you are smarter than all of us, he said, his voice rising. You are just some computer guy who thinks he knows everything. Every time I started to present evidence, someone talked over me. I looked at Sarah, waiting for her to jump in to defend me, to tell them to listen. But she just sat there, silent, her eyes on the floor. Then Derek delivered what he had clearly been building toward. Here is the solution, he announced. Louis and Sarah invest $50,000. Show you are committed to this family. Prove you support Sarah. He broke it down for us. $25,000 from my savings. $25,000 from Sarah's. I felt my blood run cold. $50,000. Our entire emergency fund. Money we had saved for a down payment on a house someday. He wanted us to throw it into a black hole. Absolutely not, I said. My voice was firm. This is a Ponzi scheme. We will lose everything. I will not gamble our future on this. The room exploded. Derek's face turned red. You are just jealous. You did not think of it first, he shouted. You are controlling Sarah. This is financial abuse. Patricia looked hurt, putting her hand over her heart like I had wounded her personally. I never thought you would be so selfish, she said. Family should support each other. Jessica joined in. You are ruining Sarah's life, she said coldly. I turned to Sarah. I waited for her to say something, anything. To tell them they were out of line. To stand up for us, for our marriage. She had tears in her eyes. Louis, please, she said quietly. Just consider it. Her voice was pleading. They are my family. And in that moment I felt something break inside me. Not with anger, but with clarity. She was choosing them. Right here, right now, she was choosing them over me. Derek saw his opening. Sarah, you need to choose, he said. Either he invests with us or you come home to family. We cannot have someone dragging this family down. Patricia nodded. Sweetheart, maybe you need some space from Louis. Come stay here for a while. Clear your head, without his negativity. The silence stretched out. I looked at Sarah, really looked at her, waiting for her to say no, waiting for her to choose us, but she did not. I need to think, she whispered. Then even quieter. Maybe I should stay here tonight, just to figure things out. It is not about choosing Louis. I just need space. I stood up. The calm that washed over me was eerie. Take all the time you need, I said. I walked out of that house without looking back. Nobody followed me. I drove home through empty streets. The city lights blurred past. When I got to our apartment, I sat in the dark living room for hours. I did not turn on any lights. I just sat there processing what had happened. Sarah had chosen. She said she needed space, that she needed to think. But I understood the truth. When your spouse has to think about whether they choose you or choose something else, the marriage is already over. I knew what I had to do. I just needed to find the strength to do it. The next 2 weeks were hell. Sarah stayed at her mother's house. She texted me every day. I miss you, but I need you to understand. Can you just try to see their side? Maybe invest something small. She called me crying. She said she loved me, but every conversation ended the same way. She would defend her family. She would ask me to trust them. She would try to convince me that maybe, just maybe, they were right and I was wrong. I stayed firm. This is not about the money, I told her during one phone call. This is about you choosing them over us, over our future. Sarah, they are asking me to gamble everything we have worked for. No, she said. They are asking you to have faith in family. Do you not see the difference? The final phone call came on a Wednesday night. She had been gone for 13 days. If you loved me, you would do this, she said. Her voice was cold. If you loved me, I replied, you would not ask. There was a long pause. I cannot choose between you and my family, Louis, she finally said. You already did, I told her, and I hung up. I sat on the edge of our bed, the bed we had picked out together 3 years ago, and I made my decision. I could not live in this limbo. I could not keep hoping she would come to her senses. I could not keep fighting for someone who would not fight for me. It was time to take action. The next morning I called a divorce attorney. His name was Mr. Harrison, and his office was downtown. I sat in a leather chair in front of his desk and explained everything. Oregon is a no-fault divorce state, he told me. This will be straightforward. We can have papers drawn up by the end of the week. Over the next few days, I moved through my plan with mechanical precision. I reviewed all our bank accounts. We had $70,000 in joint savings. I had another $30,000 in a separate account from before we were married. We did not have a prenuptial agreement. Mr. Ezate 7. Harrison explained how property division would work. Everything would be split fairly. I was not trying to hide money or cheat Sarah. I just wanted out. I found a studio apartment in North Portland. It was small, just one room with a kitchenette and a tiny bathroom, but it was available immediately. I paid the deposit and first month's rent. Month-to-month lease. I could move in whenever I wanted. I spent the next 2 days systematically documenting everything we owned. I took photos of our furniture, found receipts for major purchases, made lists. I opened a new bank account and legally transferred my separate funds. I changed my mailing address. I contacted a moving company and booked them for the following Saturday. Every action was calculated legal protective. On Friday, I texted Sarah, "We need to talk. Come home Saturday afternoon." Her response came immediately. "Finally. I knew you would come around." I did not correct her. Let her think whatever she wanted. Saturday morning, I heard her key in the lock. I was sitting at our dining table, the same table where we had eaten breakfast together hundreds of times. She came in looking nervous but hopeful. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail. She was wearing the sweater I had given her last Christmas. "Louis, I am so glad you called," she started. "I have been thinking so much, and I really believe if we just talk to Derek together, we can find a compromise that works." I slid an envelope across the table. She looked at it confused. "What is this, divorce papers?" I said calmly. "I have already signed them." The color drained from her face. "What? No, this is. We can work this out. Louis, please." She grabbed my hand. "I love you." I pulled my hand back gently. "You chose your family over me," I said. "Over us. I will not compete with them, and I will not watch you lose everything in a scam." She started crying. "I will come home right now. I will tell them no. Please do not do this. You are my husband. It is too late, Sarah." I kept my voice steady. "You showed me where I stand. I deserve someone who chooses me, not someone who has to think about it, not someone who needs space to decide if I am worth fighting for." I stood up. "You have 3 days to look over the papers. My attorney's information is in there. His name is Mr. Harrison. You can contact him with any questions." I walked toward the door. "Louis, please," she sobbed. "Do not walk away from us." I turned back one last time. "Goodbye, Sarah." Then I left. I could hear her crying as I walked down the hallway. It was the hardest thing I had ever done. That night I packed my essentials into my car. Clothes, toiletries, my laptop and work equipment, my books. I left a box with a few personal items, including one wedding photo. I could not bring myself to throw it away, but I could not take it either. Sunday morning, the movers arrived right on schedule. They were professional and quick. I only took what was clearly mine. My desk, my computer chair, my clothing, my books. All the furniture, the decorations we had picked out together, I left for Sarah. I did not want any of it. Every piece held memories that would only hurt. I changed my phone number. I changed my email address. I deactivated all my social media accounts. I blocked Patricia, Derek, and Jessica. on everything before I deleted the apps. After the movers left, I sent one final text to Sarah from my old number. I am leaving the keys on the kitchen counter. My attorney has my new contact information. Then I blocked her too. Monday morning I went to work like nothing had happened. My colleagues asked how my weekend was. Fine, I said. Just moved into a new place. They did not know about the separation. They did not need to. I focused on my projects. I wrote code. I attended meetings. Professional, competent, controlled. My new studio apartment was bare. Just a mattress on the floor, boxes stacked against the wall. No decorations. No warmth. But it was mine. And in the quiet, I felt something unexpected. Relief. 3 days later, on Wednesday afternoon, Sarah went back to our old apartment. I know because Mr. Harrison called me. She tried to reach you, he said. Your number is disconnected. She went to the apartment. I know what she found. Empty. My clothes gone from the closet, just bare hangers swinging in the space. My toiletries missing from the bathroom. My desk removed from the office, leaving only dust marks on the carpet where it used to be. All of her things exactly where she left them. And on the kitchen counter, an envelope with a copy of the filed divorce papers and Mr. Harrison's business card. According to what Mr. Harrison told me later, based on messages from her attorney, she tried everything to find me. She called my disconnected number over and over. She sent emails that bounced back. She looked for my social media and found nothing. She called my office, but our receptionist had instructions to take messages only and not give out any information about my whereabouts. She was frantic. She called her family. Mr. Harrison told me this part too because Sarah's attorney mentioned it. Derek told her I was bluffing that I would come back. Patricia said maybe it was for the best that I was never supportive anyway. And in that moment, Sarah realized something. They did not actually care that her marriage was falling apart. They cared about the investment, about being right, about not losing face. She signed the divorce papers 4 weeks later. It was the only communication we had, and it went through our attorneys. Clean, legal, final. 6 weeks after I walked out, the news broke. Crypto Wave Elite was a Ponzi scheme. Marcus, the so-called financial guru, was arrested. Federal investigators froze all the accounts. Investors were told they would likely recover nothing. The story made the local news. I watched it on my laptop in my studio apartment, and I felt vindicated but also sad. Mr. Harrison called to tell me the rest. Patricia had lost her initial $5,000, plus another $15,000 she had invested afterward. $20,000 total. Derek had put in $30,000. Jessica had lost $8,000. Their total family loss was $58,000. Derek's wife was furious with him for gambling their savings. Patricia had to refinance her house. Jessica had to move back home because she could not afford her rent anymore. Sarah tried to reach me through Mr. Harrison. You were right, her message said. I am so sorry. Can we please talk? I had Mr. Harrison respond. Divorce proceedings continue as planned. No further communication necessary. 2 weeks later, the divorce was finalized. Clean break. Equitable division of our remaining assets. No drama, no contested issues. Just the end. The first few months after were painful. I threw myself into work. A promotion opportunity came up, a leadership role on a new project, and I took it. I needed the distraction. I started going to the gym every morning before work. The physical exhaustion helped. I joined a weekend hiking group and met new people who knew nothing about my past. I started going to therapy to process everything: the betrayal, the loss, learning how to set boundaries, understanding my own worth. Slowly, I started healing. In therapy, I realized my marriage had other problems I had ignored. Sarah had always deferred to her family on major decisions. Our boundaries with them were never strong. I had seen red flags early on, but convinced myself love would be enough. I learned that it was not about the cryptocurrency at all. It was about respect, trust, partnership. And when those things are missing, love alone cannot sustain a marriage. 6 months after filing for divorce, I had decorated my studio apartment properly. I hung curtains. I bought a real bed frame. I put up some art. It started to feel like home. I had a small circle of friends from the hiking group. I had hobbies again. My career was going well. I still had moments of sadness, wondering what could have been if Sarah had chosen differently. But mostly I felt peace. 9 months after everything fell apart, I was at a Starbucks in a different neighborhood working on my laptop. I looked up and saw Sarah walk in with a friend. She looked different, tired, older somehow. Our eyes met across the coffee shop. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she walked over. "Hi, Lewis," she said quietly. "Hi, Sarah. You look well." "So do you," I lied. She did not. She looked exhausted. There was an awkward silence. "I really am sorry," she said. "For everything." "I know," I said. "I hope you are doing okay." "I am. Better. I learned a lot." She gave me a small, sad smile. "I am glad. Take care, Louis." "You too." She walked away. I watched her order her coffee and leave with her friend. And I felt nothing. No anger. No hurt. No longing. She was a stranger to me now. And that was okay. That was closure. Looking back now, I do not regret leaving. I regret that it came to that point. I regret that the woman I loved valued her family's approval more than our partnership. But I learned something crucial. You cannot save someone who will not choose you. You cannot love someone into respecting you. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for both of you is walk away. I learned that love without respect and trust is not enough. I learned that protecting yourself is not selfish. I learned that setting boundaries, even when it costs you everything, is how you maintain your self-worth. Initially, I wanted Sarah to suffer the way I suffered. I wanted her to understand what she had lost. But I realized that her suffering would not heal me. Letting go of that resentment set me free. She made her choice and dealt with the consequences. I made mine and found peace. I am more cautious now in relationships, but I am not closed off. I am dating again casually. I know what my boundaries are. I know what I will and will not accept. I will never compromise my self-respect for anyone again. I am focused on building a life I am proud of. A life based on my values, not someone else's expectations. With or without someone by my side. Sometimes the right choice is the hard choice. Walking away from Sarah saved me. I do not know what she is doing now, and that is okay. I do not need to know. I am focused on my own path forward, on the person I am becoming, on the life I am creating for myself. I am standing in my studio apartment as I tell you this, looking out at the Portland skyline. I am thinking about the future. Maybe I will take that job offer in Seattle. Maybe I will stay here. Either way, the choice is mine. If someone asks you to choose between them and yourself, remember this. You are allowed to choose you. And sometimes that is the only choice worth making. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to walk away from someone you loved because they would not choose you? Have you ever stood your ground when everyone around you said you were wrong? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to hear more real stories about choosing yourself. Share this with someone who needs to hear that it is okay to put themselves first. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps someone out there who is struggling with a similar choice. Remember, you deserve to be chosen. You deserve to be respected. And you deserve peace. Take care of yourselves out there.